Okay, thank you for your patience, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. I want to ask Representative Reese to open us up with a word of prayer.
If you would bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your protection and allowing us to get here today safely, Lord. We thank you for allowing us to serve in these positions of leadership as we serve the people of Georgia. Lord, we ask that you keep the best on our minds, keep the people of Georgia on our minds, and keep fairness and equality on our minds as we go through this committee work. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Let me tell the audience a little bit what the status is. We started late. We had a caucus meeting and could not get started. We also have a meeting behind this meeting. I knew we were on a tight schedule, and that's why this is a hearing only for SB 33. It's going to be hearing light. I know a lot of you signed up to speak. Might not get all of y'all, and probably won't. I know we won't. But I wanted to get Senator Kirkpatrick here to present her bill, her sub. She's got a sub. And I wanted to make sure it was in the record and just set the stage. We will have another full hearing on it next week. So I apologize due to conflicts with this committee, with rooms. We sort of had to have this meeting today instead of in the morning. So that's our status. So I've got a couple other speakers until Senator Kirkpatrick gets here. She's presenting other bills in another meeting. So I want to call Kyle Wade, president of Atlanta Community Food Bank, to come speak, if she would, and give our committee a little update on what's going on with Atlanta Food Bank. And you can go to the whichever you would like to. Color the table or to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it is suitable for the chairman, Julie Kuykendall from Feeding Georgia is going to join me as well. She represents the other food banks that serve the rest of the state of Georgia outside of the territory that my food bank serves.
I'm sorry.
All good. Well, we, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, we so appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. My name is Kyle Wade. I'm the CEO of the Atlanta Community Food Bank. We're going to talk today in particular about the Georgia Farm to Food Bank initiative that has helped us provide a healthy, nutritious food to families facing food insecurity across the state, while also providing important support to our incredible agricultural community in the state of Georgia. Before we get to that, I want to just provide a little bit of context about our work and what we're experiencing on the front lines today across communities all across Georgia. My food bank serves 29 counties in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. We work with a network of 700 community-based nonprofit organizations, the vast majority of which are faith-based organizations, so churches and other kind of faith-based institutions. We supply those 700 partners with food and resources, which they then in turn distribute to families in need in their local communities. And we've been doing that for nearly 50 years now across North Georgia. Over the past 4 years, we have seen an extraordinary increase in the amount of demand for food assistance from our network. We're serving 70% more people today than we did just 4 years ago, and currently serve about 260,000 households every month through our network. That represents about 12% of the population. Most of that growth in demand is among families who earn too much money to qualify for federal benefit programs. So these are folks who by definition are working, but because they're spending more money at the grocery store, at the gas pump, on their rent or mortgage, on healthcare costs, they now cannot afford to meet all of their basic needs in the way that they could just a few years ago, and they're needing help, which they're getting from our network. So we're seeing demand at a historically high level, higher than it was during the pandemic. And at the same time, we're seeing a lot of pressure on resources. We've experienced some significant cuts to federal commodity programs through the USDA that have put pressure on our levels of inventory. We, of course, are also facing the same kind of cost pressures that every other business is facing, increased costs for payroll. We're spending more money to purchase food. The cost for us to buy food has gone up. Cost for gas and everything else has gone up. So there's a lot of resource pressure on food banks at the same time that we're facing historically high levels of need in our community. Now, food banks like mine are responding aggressively to those challenges. We've invested significantly in our capacity to get more food out into the community. My food bank works out of what is the largest food bank facility in the country. It's a 350,000 square foot facility that we built and moved to in 2020 down here by the airport. And a big part of that increased capacity is the increased capacity to move perishable food, including produce. We have about 80,000 square feet of freezer cooler space and a significant fleet of all refrigerated vehicles that allow us to move that food safely across our community. We've worked really closely with the agricultural community and with other industry groups like the retailers across the state to increase access to fresh and perishable products. We're getting now close to 40 million pounds a year from grocery stores that are almost all perishable products. We'll this year distribute about 40 million pounds of fresh produce. And we've brought online a USDA certified clean room that allows us to move more agricultural product in the form of chicken and other kind of proteins that before were harder for us to accept as donations. So all of that means that we're trying to innovate and find new ways to get really great Georgia-grown products on the tables of families who are facing food insecurity today so that we can respond effectively to this increase in demand. And we know that growing the great partnership we have with our Department of Agriculture and with our growers across the state of Georgia will help us meet more of that demand. So I'm going to kick it to Julie to talk about what the other food banks in the state are seeing and to talk about our specific requests for increased funding for the Farm to Food Bank program.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you, Julie. I'm sorry I didn't introduce you a minute ago. Brand new director of Feeding Georgia. This started this fall, I think.
Yes,
Did you not?
Yes,
and it's really hit the ground running. I've seen her multiple places. Did a wonderful job with the Wild Hog Supper and all that went on with that. So thank you for supporting that and doing that, and just so excited to have you in this new position. Big job, big shoes to fill.
Yes, sir.
But off to a great start. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. It's an honor to be able to speak to you all today. As you heard from my colleague Kyle at the Atlanta Community Food Bank, I'm Julie Kirkendall with Feeding Georgia. We represent all of the state food banks across our great state of Georgia. That includes Atlanta, and we are, I like to say, sort of like the Chamber of Commerce for food banks. We represent them proudly and are honored to get to do so. Our food banks across the state work with more than 2,400 partner agencies, and those are the soup kitchens and church pantries that supply the food to those that are facing hunger and food insecurity in their neighborhoods and communities. So you all may be familiar with that in your own hometowns. One of the things that was important that Kyle highlighted is the state of need right now across that network. There has been a lot of downward pressure, especially related to federal nutrition programs, which are very important to the food bank network. Because of changes, shelves are a little barer than they normally are, and that's something that always causes concern for us. Those nutrition programs have been very successful But as you get outside of Metro Atlanta, some of our food banks count on those programs, so it's upwards of 50% of their inventory at any given time. So when changes happen, we keep an eye on that. The other thing that you heard Kyle allude to is that our food banks have been able to build capacity in the last couple of years, which is always the dream. You know, our food banks always say, gosh, if we had more capacity, we could distribute more food. And we've been able to do that thanks to the great leadership of Dana Kraft and her partners in the community. We've been able to bolster that capacity. So now we can, in fact, do just that, distribute more food to the folks that need it. One of the bright spots that has been working really well for us is the Georgia-grown farm-to-food bank purchase program. So this allows our food banks to purchase at a discount, number one, produce, and that's in oversupply. So the produce that is in oversupply and the price is falling, we can come in and purchase that at a discount, and that helps two big important things. One, our farmers across the state of Georgia, and also, of course, our food banks and those who are served by our food banks. That's healthy, nutritious produce that's grown right here in Georgia that gets to the folks who need it. That program has been incredibly successful. Right now, as Kyle said, we have 825,000 that we're working with. And so we're coming to ask you this year for help in expanding that program. We have more capacity to push that healthy, nutritious food out to those who need it and are facing food insecurity and hunger. We have deepened and strengthened our relationships with our farmers. It's been wonderful. I was just down at the Georgia Farm Bureau Conference in Jekyll, my first time in Jekyll. I know that's hard to believe. And it was wonderful to spend time with those farming families and really understand how important a program like this is to them so that they have a place to count on when that that surplus is happening and they're looking for ways to put that out into the market. So we are humbly and asking for $5 million to expand that program this year. And we really thank you for your time. I want you all to know that if you're ever interested in taking a tour, you are always welcome. You have food banks in your territory. We're always happy to identify those. If you and your staff would ever like to come out and take a tour and volunteer, we are always here for you and would love to have you. And that, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. We are honored to be here today and very appreciative.
Well, thank you for that presentation, and we're going to save any questions from the committee for a little later. You'll be here when we get finished, so thank you. Thank you both for what y'all do. Really important program to a lot of people in Georgia, so thank you. Senator Kilpatrick. All right, now hold on just a moment. Have you got a few minutes, or you got to go back?
I've got 30 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. I got one more speaker, Matthew Kalinsky with Georgia Department of Ag. He's going to do a short presentation, and then we're going to let you present SB 33. So Matthew's kind of goes along with this, and I just thought it would be very informative for the committee to hear. Thank you for being here, Matthew.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chairman Dickey, for inviting me to be here. I will be very brief as I go through some of these notes. You should have a little flyer with my notes on it, so in case I don't hit everything, you should be able to get that through those note sheets. Looks like this. It should be in your packet, but I also have them up on the spreadsheet, up on the PowerPoint. So, the Georgia Department of Agriculture Marketing Division, one of our main goals in working with these food buying programs, I'm going to go over two of them. It's the LFPA, the Local Food Procurement Assistance Program, and the Farmers to Food Bank programs. Our number one goal is to make sure that these programs benefit Georgia farmers. That's making sure that Georgia farmers are being identified through this program, and that we get a large variety of Georgia farmers, and that they're selling a variety of products to the food banks as part of this. So our main goal is to make sure that our food supply chains remain resilient, and that means connecting both the farmers and the food banks together and making sure that the farmers are able to sell into a wholesale supply chain like the food banks want them. I'll give you a quick overview of that LFPA program. It is a federally funded USDA program. Unfortunately, it is winding down now. The funding ends at the end of this federal fiscal year. Through fiscal year 25, we spent roughly $4.5 million. I think I have that number in the next slide. $4.4 million in purchases from Georgia. It provides a reliable, large volume purchases to help producers. So what's good about this program is we created contracts with producers so that producers could grow to that contract. Therefore, they were able to get into the wholesale supply chain knowing that they'll have a place to sell that product. So it was very beneficial to small and medium-sized farmers as it started to grow, right? So we are also able to provide a variety of product that the food banks don't typically get. These are some of the higher value specialty crops, fruits, specialty crops like mushrooms, those sort of things, to provide a value and a variety of products that food banks don't ordinarily get. So it was a very successful program, but it's losing its federal funding, and we don't really have a program to replace it. We did know that this was losing its funding, so we have been working with a lot of these producers to get into wholesale supply chains in other ways. And one of the ways that they've been able to kind of transfer is moving to this Farmers to Food Banks program. And I'll give you a quick overview of that. Again, this is a little bit different than LFPA because this money goes directly to the food banks to then be able to buy product directly from those producers, as opposed to it going through a state program for purchasing. It does enable purchases to be made at a market or even an above market rate because the food banks are being provided funding for this. So it does give that special extra benefit to some of the farmers that are supplying the products. And it also allows for that higher value or specialty crop product to be able to be sold. So it's uniquely beneficial to a lot of our Georgia producers. Just in the last fiscal year, we estimate, and I can get you specific numbers and specific farms that sold into this program, but it's benefited over 40 farms that we've been able to work with to make sure that they're in that supply chain for the food banks. And so it's been a great program that, we hope continues as part of the Georgia Department of Agriculture, but we will continue to support Georgia farmers to make sure that new beginning farmers, medium-sized farmers are utilizing it to get into the wholesale supply chain and be able to sell a variety of products to food banks. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. Two great programs. Farmers to Food Bank program, I'm familiar with that, great program, and also a great entryway for farmers to donate it if the funding runs out to food banks. And so thank you for your expertise and work on that. Okay, Senator Kirkpatrick, welcome to the House Ag Committee. I know we're all juggling schedules, and but I wanted you to be here, committee, to hear your SB 33, and I think we have a sub. We heard this last year in this committee, so I think this committee is somewhat familiar, although last year seems to be a long way from now, at least for me to recall. So I'd love for you to give an update and talk about your sub with this bill. So the mic's yours. And welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you all this early in the session, although it feels much later than it actually is, at least on our side. We just finished voting, so sorry to be running a little behind. And I do have to chair my Children and Families Committee meeting at 2 o'clock, so I appreciate the cooperation on the schedule.
And we have to vacate this room at 2 o'clock as well, so we've got 25 minutes. So take your time, whatever you want to.
Okay.
This is for you.
The sub you should have is LC 443288S. Is that what you got? Okay, so this should look, is that not what you have? Yeah. 88S.
82S.
S is what I've been.
Well, I was delivered, my office was delivered last week, 3382S. Kimberly, is that what you?
That's, yeah, this is the,
This is what Anna
this is like.
has, the 1282S.
Yeah, and that's what Legislative Council has.
Chairman, that's what I brought to the meeting. That's my understanding, is what we're operating like. So they'll see 443382S.
Yes.
Okay, well, I doubt it's much
Can
different, but I
somebody-
probably need a copy of that
Can
one.
somebody take her a copy?
Okay. Let me go back to talking about the bill and what I'm trying to do here. This should look very familiar to most of you, as you heard this bill last year near the end of the session, and we kind of ran out of time. It's very sciencey, and I think there was some concern about moving it forward at that time. So the motivation for the bill was research that shows that the dangers of certain hemp products like Delta 8 that are in our local gas stations, vape shops, convenience stores, and so on. Many of these products are coming from outside, not only outside the state, but outside of the country, and they're not really regulated in any way, shape, or form. So the FDA has written a lot of warning letters to different companies about the products, and we know that people are getting sick from these products, including people in Georgia. Delta 8 is only one of many compounds that can cause harm. Some are found in quantities, trace quantities in the plant, and then are enhanced chemically by more of a synthetic type process, and then some of them are purely synthetic products. I'll mention that I have worked with the Department of Agriculture throughout, ever since we started talking about this. And in fact, I believe, I didn't bring it with me, but the Sheriff's Association wrote a letter supporting the bill last year, as it was. Since we left here last year, something big changed at the federal level, and that is that in November of 2025, Congress passed restrictions on hemp products, including Delta 8, by banning most intoxicating hemp products with a concentration of greater than 0.3% on dry weight basis, effective in November of this year. This provides federal law enforcement the ability to police this area. However, until we address this at the state level, our state law enforcement, including the Department of Agriculture's law enforcement, are limited in their ability to enforce. This substitute mirrors the federal law in order to protect our citizens. 13 states have already banned Delta 8. 3 more have restricted it. Other states have pending legislation. I'm happy to go line by line, or I can do that at another time. Department of Agriculture, Government Affairs folks are not in town today, so they're watching, but not here to testify. And with that, just tell me how much detail you'd like today.
Well, I'll open it up. I think you went through that pretty accurately, as far as I know. And you mentioned the Department of Ag. They are presently in a regulatory role of looking at these THC products or these CBD products or whatever you want to call them in a limited way. Their budget is up, but they are, for the committee, they are attempting and starting to regulate under our present regulations now. But anyway, we'll let them talk about that next week at our next hearing. But I'm going to take some questions from Representative Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Senator. I was trying to remember last year, and I'm remembering that I think she's the executive director for Ag, when we were having some discussion about THC 9 and 8, that she mentioned that she didn't want us to kind of do a lot of regulation and to kind of come back, but there was going to be a study committee. So is any of this bill that we're addressing now part of, I guess, whatever work that went on over the recess? Or are we starting with a totally different set of conversations?
This is essentially the same bill that you looked at last year, except that we made it match the action that the federal government has taken. The House had it wasn't a study committee exactly. I think it was a blue ribbon.
Yeah, Blue
something,
Ribbon
something.
Committee that Chairman Martin Newton, and it was both medical marijuana changes to that legislation as well as what Senator Kilpatrick here is with 33 trying to rein in hemp or to discuss hemp. And I was on that committee, and I don't know, Representative Cox, we did not come and publish a finding. Am I correct for that? So we did 4 or 5 meetings discussing both areas, and really did not come to any kind of conclusion as far as I know. Report, excuse me, that would be more accurate. We did not publish a report.
That's my understanding.
Do we have any other questions from the senator? Okay. Well, thank you.
I'm
You can
happy
get back
come
to your
back,
meeting.
And anybody can contact me, send me any other questions that you might have from the committee.
Well,
And,
thank you. I know you've worked on this for a couple of years, and there's a lot of concern out there on what the public is purchasing in these establishments, wanting to know, the quality and strength and that sort of thing. So we'll leave it there. We've got plenty of people who want to testify. We will have another hearing next Wednesday if things don't change. The regular meeting time for this committee at 8 o'clock on Wednesday mornings, and go into further detail with people wanting to speak, and have you back if you can at that time. I do have one other question. Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For clarity, we are on the right bill, not the one, because she's naming another LC number.
No, we're working off 82S.
Okay.
Now, we'll have to, if she wants 88 into the submitted, we'll take that
Okay.
later.
I have a feeling that there may be a few more changes, and so there will probably be a different LC number the next time you hear the bill.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got 15 minutes, and we can start going down this list. I apologize if we don't get everyone, and I apologize if we can't spend enough time. But we'll start and get a flavor for what y'all want to tell me. Why don't we keep it to a couple of minutes so everybody can try to say what they need. First on the sign-up list is Aaron Jamaris. If you could come to the podium mic and tell the committee a little bit your thoughts on SB 33.
All right, thank you for having us. So my thoughts are that I would request for it to be tabled. I think that there's a lot of confusion about the bill as it currently stands, as well as the lack of a report from the Blue Ribbon Study Committee. It would be nice to have taken the findings from that into account in a bill like this. In addition to what's happening at the federal level, the federal landscape is still up in the air. There's moratoriums that are trying to be passed. There's other things that are working at that level. So with everything so up in the air about this, I would request that it be tabled. In addition to the fact that the regulatory concerns about Delta-8 THC are pretty unfounded, considering that 494 went into effect going on 2 years ago, and it covers all consumable hemp products. It covers an age limit that you have to be. It covers an age limit for consumable hemp products. It covers full panel COA testing. So most of the regulatory concerns were covered by that. This would only serve as a restriction of Delta-8 THC. And again, with everything being so up in the air, I would request that this be tabled. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, and I hope you're not surprised things stay in the air up in Washington, D.C., as well as around this place sometimes. Thank you for those comments. Alan Hart from U.S. Hemp Roundtable.
Hello, Chairman. Hello,
Why
esteemed
don't you
House
pull it
representatives.
straight up so you're pretty
straight
tall.
up.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me? Yes. I can speak up a little bit, too, if it catches it a little bit better. Hi, my name is Alan Hart. I'm a Georgian. I'm a business owner, and I'm a user. I'm a person who uses cannabis on a regular basis, both for personal reasons and for business reasons. What I stand up before you to urge is for you to vote no on SB 33. While I believe that the intent behind the bill is an admirable one, but making this safe for human beings is not what this bill is actually intended to do. This bill is intended to hit a sledgehammer on an industry that has become very strong in the state of Georgia, providing over $150 million in tax revenue in 2024 alone, according to the UGA economic impact study of that same year. What this bill does is this bill basically makes it impossible for companies like mine to do business in the state of Georgia. It's not going to actually protect anybody either. What we're doing is we are killing businesses that protect us from things that happen in a black market, in an illicit market. First of all, I have spoken to other Georgia hemp business owners like myself, entrepreneurs who have invested their life savings in this state, like I have. SB 33, alongside its counterpart SB 254, alongside could render our products unsellable, destroying thousands of jobs and shutting down local businesses that operate entirely and in compliance with current law. Number two, you hurt patient access. This is not about recreational products. Many Georgians are high concentration CBD products, which inherently contain trace levels of other cannabinoids to manage chronic pain, epilepsy, and anxiety. By capping total THC at a draconian 0.3% across all forms, you are limiting their access to therapeutic options, forcing them to buy either more expensive, less effective products, or go to the unregulated black market. The regulate, don't prohibit argument. We should be focusing on smart regulation, requiring testing, banning contaminants, and enforcing age restrictions rather than a total ban through restrictive limits. And we've seen in other states, if you make it impossible for legal, responsible businesses to operate, then consumers do not stop consuming. They simply buy from the black market where there is zero safety testing, zero tax revenue, and more work for our law enforcement agents. What does this bill do? We don't really know. I believe it's been said by our governor in the passing of SB 494 that we're protecting children. Unfortunately, this doesn't protect children. This makes children less safe because the state is not regulating products. Okay. Instead, it's going into the black market. Also, this does not protect children because, sorry, let me state as far as on the national level, Rand Paul stated that what we are facing here is not another policy adjustment. This is an attempt to criminalize an entire legal sector by changing definitions, not through open debate, but through a backdoor process.
Thank you.
Just say no to True Leave, Fine Federal, and misinformation. Say no to the illicit markets and say no, vote no on SB 33.
Thank you for that testimony. Next, I'd like to call Jeff Breedlove with Georgia Council for Recovery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it pleases the committee, I am Jeff Breedlove with the Georgia Council for Recovery. More importantly than that, I'm a person in long-term recovery from addiction. So I'm a person who can speak to you from lived experience. From Georgia, I live in Grant Park. I was in active addiction all over our state, from Savannah to Atlanta. And I used to work down here. And I know that you understand more than I do, that you're going to hear from 3 or 4 types of people on this bill. One, people that will advocate for the victims, the reality of the intended and unintended consequences of these products. Two, you're going to hear from people that just genuinely believe the product is harmless and it's okay and they should be able to do what they want to do. You're also going to hear from some greedy people, people who want to profit off of your constituents, and they frankly don't care. And they will mislead you. They will talk to you about black markets. Well, they're white-collar drug dealers. That's what they are. There's people in your districts today that say it is easier to get a better high walking into one of these stores because of the THC content. And you want to arrest them for doing it. And what does it cost? Who says that? Some of the over 900,000 Georgians who have survived your products. Now, you have to make a choice at the end of the day. No one in Senate Bill 33, certainly not the good senator, is asking you for prohibition. But we are saying that THC levels cause medical consequences in your hospitals. Psychosis, paralysis. Some people die and some people are handicapped for life. $150 million coming into the state, we'll take them at face value. But talk to your sheriffs about their budgets because of THC. Talk to your hospitals about their budgets because of the THC. Talk to your coroners. Talk to your GBI. It's costing the state and the taxpayers at the local, county, and state level far more money in the medical consequences. So should we halt this? No. Should we ban the product on the other extreme? That's not what this bill does. But is it reasonable for us to look at the science behind what's happening when people get sick from higher and higher levels of THC? Make a choice between no limits or reasonable limits, but at least don't buy into the lie that the level of THC just doesn't matter, because I can take you to any cemetery in your district you want to go, and I'll get a mama and daddy to tell you that it does. Stand up for the victims of this and not the people profiting for it. Thank you for your consideration, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you for that testimony. We got 5 minutes left. I'd like to call Mike Griffin to the podium, if you would. You're signed up here. And keep it short, Mike. Just let the...
Thank you. My name is Mike Griffin. I'm a public affairs representative of the Georgia Baptist Mission Board, and we do support Senator Kirkpatrick and SB 33. Georgia Baptist just recently passed a resolution on making sure that we limit the use of marijuana and hemp in our state. And, we represent 1.4 million Georgians, up to 3,400 churches. And we think it's very important that we have greater restrictions dealing with especially these hemp products. We think that one of the greatest evidence of loving God and loving your neighbor is caring about public health and safety. And while it's true that we may disagree on the use of certain substances, we must all agree that protecting others from negative outcomes is very important. We believe that Georgia should limit the total amount of THC and other intoxicating cannabinoids in consumable hemp products. We also agree that Georgia should make sure that they close the loophole in Georgia that allows products with dangerously high levels of hemp-deprived THC, such as Delta-8, to be sold or to given to anyone of any age. We do agree that we should mirror the federal change that is coming as well here in our state. And so we have to realize that the lack of responsible regulations on these types of products can result basically in a de facto form of recreational marijuana. And so I've testified a number of times on these different moral and social issues, whether it's alcohol or hemp or whatever, marijuana. We got to realize that availability equals sales, sales equals consumption, and consumption equals potential problems. Now, there's a reason why they call 7-Elevens convenience stores, because you can get in there quick and you can get it. And the more convenient we make some of these social moral vices that we have out here, it creates a greater destruction. And we do think there needs to be greater regulation, and we need to be focused on a public health and safety issue on this issue. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Appreciate that testimony. We got time for one more person. And Avita, Scribble, you and Scribble's ready? I don't want to get away from here without hearing what your thoughts are on SB 33. Are you for or against? Is Scribbles for or against?
I have a very interesting perspective, of course. Thank you so much for having me. The only reason why I'm here is because he begged me, because actually Representative Cannon asked him to come. Yeah, that's why I'm here. And I love the Ag Committee because I'm a small farm boy. I'm not a big farmer guy. I actually testified in health, and it was not so fun. But I'm here today to say my favorite kid's story is about the wind and the sun. Do you know that one? You try to get the congressman to take off his jacket, and the wind made a bet with the sun, and the wind said, I could do it better than you, and he blew and blew and blew, but the congressman kept his jacket on. And then the sun came out, and lo and behold, it was hot, so he took it off. This is like Kay's bill. She's trying to blow all these things away really hard and really trying hard. What is the sun? What would the sun be? Does anyone know?
All right, we're out of time. Thank you.
Microgreens.
We are out of
If the
time.
headband is like federal, we would have microgreens, like feds, and real flour. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Committee, don't forget the Agribusiness Council reception this afternoon and breakfast in the morning. You have a great rest of the day. Thank you.